Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is...
Brian, now that I can't be suppressed.
You've been suppressed for a while now, Brian.
Yeah, but now we just tested to make sure I am suppressed. I can no longer clip anymore.
Yeah,
well, not that I have been for a while.
We fixed that about like 6 episodes ago, but it's fine.
This is news to me.
He's just now finding out he can't push his audio into the red.
Dang it. David, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. We finished Tiny Tina's Wonderlands last night.
I forgot we were going to talk about that.
Remember a year ago when we were so excited to play that game?
What happened?
Well,
what happened to the excitement?
Well, it launched on the Crapic store, exclusive for 6 months. The Epic store, I'm sorry.
Get it right. Get your terms right.
Yeah, it's a pretty Crapic store though.
No, don't you dare say that. They added a shopping cart. They have a wish list now. They're getting close.
So they're still basically Steam Year 1, even though Epic's been around for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now.
I don't know how long they've been around.
Way too long for their store to be as bare bones as it is. But what killed the excitement? Waiting for 6 months to play it, and then when we played it, we realized that 6 months they did like no quality testing or patching of the game to make it. I mean, they might have, but it doesn't seem like the game was in a pretty rough state like 6 months later. So,
we didn't really run into too many bugs.
What about the weapon shake bug?
There was some stuff, but it's not like unplayable. Like it's a pretty polished game still overall. That's my take, at least. I don't know why you'll disagree, and I would love for you to back it up because I don't think you can.
I don't know. I just felt the gunplay wasn't quite as smooth as it was in past Borderlands games, just in general. Like, not beyond the drops not being fantastic.
It was also, we beat the game really fast, and we weren't playing on like easy. We were playing on the hard difficulty, and we beat the game in like 15 hours.
Yeah, it's a really short game. It was really hard getting invested in the characters because they bring in 2 new characters other than Tiny Tina is the only like recurring character. I mean, if you count,
and the note taker.
The note taker, but that
don't spoil it though. Don't spoil it.
You don't find that out. You don't find out about the note taker till the last like 15 minutes of the game.
Yes.
The note taker kind of puts the game. It gives you kind of when this kind of takes place, but all the characters that really talk to you are new characters, and it was hard for me to get invested in them because there weren't any like returning characters or other than Tiny Tina and Butt Stallion. If you count Butt Stallion as a recurring character.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No good guns. I mean, honestly, we probably could have beat the game in probably 12 hours if we didn't get lost.
Oh, the map was really
all the
bad.
maps. The map design is really kind of poor. It was poor. I'm trying to like think of like a better way to like not as negatively impact this game, but the map design is poor. Level design is poor.
Well, because it's in a fantasy world, there's no vehicles, so the maps aren't quite as open as previous Borderlands maps are, so they're a lot more corridory, and it's just a labyrinth, and the maps have multiple levels, but it's not clear when looking at the map how to get to the other levels because they don't connect anywhere on the map, so you don't know where to go up level. It was really hard to read. I mean,
we've played a lot of video games in our time,
I've
David.
played a lot of video games.
We have played a lot. I've never had such a problem with a map.
I've never had such a hard time reading a map in a video game before. It was not good. So I mean, I don't know. I'd probably give it like, I don't know, 5 or 6 out of 10. What would
Only
you
play it if you're a big Borderlands fan, so you can be disappointed and join us.
Yeah, we wouldn't recommend Tiny Tina's Wonderlands really to any general audience. Only if you're a hardcore Borderlands fan, and even then,
have fun.
I still can't super recommend it.
Well, jumping off of that, because we just finished Tiny Tina's, and that's really I feel like we got a good chunk of what we were going to say out real quick.
real quick.
But you also said.
Oh yeah, I think it's finally caught up. Anyway, you were asking me just a moment ago, in case this gets cut out of the podcast due to latency issues, you were asking me about my other gaming news I had, because I told you I had gaming news, but I didn't tell you beforehand. So,
Yes.
they just announced John Romero, co-creator of the OG Doom, is working on a new FPS with the Unreal 5 engine. I'm assuming
Yes.
I'm assuming you heard this, but you just didn't guess what it was.
Yes.
Let's hope it's better than Daikatana.
Okay, I can do that. I'm on board with hoping for that.
Oh, I mean, I think Daikatana was a good idea. It just wasn't a good idea in the 90s when the technology wasn't quite there yet. I'm hoping Unreal 5, as powerful as it is, will be able to live up to the vision John Romero has so that the game will be good. Because I love Doom. I mean, gotta love Doom. OG Doom 2. But his efforts at Ion Storm weren't the best. But I really hope this new game will be good, because the Unreal 5 tech demo, the Matrix tech demo on the PlayStation or Xbox, is absolutely stunning. I can't wait to get my hands on more Unreal 5 games. So something from the original maker of Doom and Unreal 5, I want to try out.
Hopefully it'll be good.
I hope so.
Hopefully it'll be good.
Hopefully it won't be Daikatana 2.
Well, I also got news. You know one of them. You don't know the rest of them, but maybe you know the rest of them.
Yeah, just like you knew the one.
Yes, the one.
Yes.
David, the Lord of the Rings trailer from the new one, the brand new one. What are your thoughts on that? Because I have probably the same thoughts.
Balrog.
They did show Balrog. That was the best part of the trailer for sure.
And as
At
far
least
as
for me.
and as far as we know, they could have just ripped that from the old Lord of the Rings movie.
They just
stuck
took
it in, because the design was identical. So I mean, at least they got.
Well, it should be. Yeah, it should be identical. They've already established what they look like. Don't change it now.
Oh, I mean, they're changing other things of what people look like in Lord of the Rings. So I mean, you never know. It could have been
It could have been a different type of Balrog.
Yeah, it could have been. You know. Could have been an albino Balrog, you know, because
It could be. Who knows? Who knows with these Balrogs nowadays?
There's bound to be an albino Balrog somewhere.
But yeah, it looks like a generic fantasy show. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it's just kind of like there's not really anything to like poke at besides the Balrog. It's not fighting back.
Yeah, it just seems super generic. Like, I don't know, like it feels the age they're in, it feels like they're going to be infusing a lot more action into this than there actually is. Because, I mean, sure, like in the Fellowship of the Ring, we see, you know, the battle against Sauron, but I'm sure that takes a while to happen. Like, if things eventually get worse and worse, it builds up to that battle at the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, which is in the past. It's 2,000 years ago, but I mean, like, I mean, like, for them to have conflict constantly up until that point, I don't know. It feels like he just, I don't know. I haven't read the Silmarillion. I don't know if there was constantly conflict, but I'm gonna doubt it.
I'm just gonna put in a strong spoonful of doubt onto that.
Because I mean the elves lived for a long time, and like that's like the one time they point back to where it was really bad, and it's been 2,000 years. Like so basically between them putting away Sauron, it's been 2,000 years of basically peace. I mean, there's some orcs here and there, you know, that were in The Hobbit, I guess, maybe, but not really, because the movie was weird. But
well, there's always some bad guy going on, but there was no like big bad going on.
No huge bad, and like the bad before Sauron, it was like supposedly even worse than Sauron. Morgoth.
I don't know, man.
I don't remember. So I don't know. I think it might have been more interesting if the show was about the previous villain before Sauron, but it looks like it's going to be a Sauron origin story, because I'm guessing that's the kid in the trailer who's evil looking and
the like guy with the white hair that's kind of like has like a weird haircut.
Yeah, I think it's the Sauron origin story. Maybe, I don't know. It's called
Hopefully
the Rings of
not.
Power. So I mean, it is, because I mean it's the Rings of Power. Sauron forged the rings, so I mean it's gonna be it's gonna be the Sauron origin story.
Yay, I'm so excited for that. Well, speaking of not getting disappointed and being very happy, they showed another House of the Dragon trailer. David, did you watch it?
No, I did not watch this one.
So, since you didn't watch it, what I thought about the House of the Dragon trailer was it looks cool because it should, because they did Game of Thrones right. Like Game of Thrones looked good with the dragons and the CGI and the VFX and all that. So beyond that, that's really all I got for the House of the Dragon trailer. Is that it looks visually pleasing, but this show's gonna come right down to the writing. It's gonna be all writing for this show.
Of course, it's going to be on the right, which is why I had zero interest in watching the trailer, because the trailer is just going to show me what I already know. HBO does good visuals. They've got a good look established in Game of Thrones already, so they're not like. The trailer was going to look good because they're only going to show like cool looking parts in the trailer.
Yeah.
There's no way to know if the show will actually be good until we watch it and see if the writing's any good.
Do you think this show is going to be able to earn back the respect people lost for the Game of Thrones franchise? People not book related like fans, like show related fans.
Show related fans.
Do you think it's gonna be because people still respect the books?
I don't know. I mean, I personally am not super interested in watching it because the last season was so bad. I waited years to watch the last season, and it was still disappointing after reading all the negative things. And it's like, wow, people weren't negative enough.
Yeah, it ended really bad, and I feel like most people who watched the final episode or that final season of Game of Thrones probably are in the same boat as you are. I'm also in that boat. I'm not really that excited to watch it, but like maybe I'll wait and see what like people are saying about it before I dive into it, but I hope it's can be as good as the first few seasons of Game of Thrones, because if it does, hopefully it'll have a huge cultural impact, because it felt like when Game of Thrones was airing, it wasn't just like nerds who were watching it. It felt like it was like a culture thing. Everybody was just invested into Game of Thrones, whether you were a nerd or not. And it was weird. It was a weird time.
Well, the issue I have in general, prequels don't work. Star Wars prequels were supposed to be a surefire hit. Didn't work. The Hobbit The Hobbit being the prequel to Lord of the Rings, and that didn't work. Enterprise. A lot of people hated Enterprise, which was a prequel to the original series. Discovery's also kind of a prequel to the original series, also terrible. So, I mean, like, it's like prequels just don't super work. I mean, Strange New Worlds, I guess, is technically a prequel also to TOS, but people really love Captain Pike, so people are really giving that a pass. It's been pretty good. I haven't finished the season yet, but it's been not bad. So, I mean, there's at least that.
Well,
but
George R. R. Martin is a producer and writer for the show,
which is why we're never ever getting the other books for the main series.
Yeah, man. I'm not. I think we'll get this book he's working on right now at some point, at some date, unless he mysteriously dies. But past that, I don't think so.
He's post-date the release date till after his death.
Yeah. Do you think after he dies, something will happen like the Wheel of Time, where somebody will want to tackle that? I don't think anybody wants to tackle. That's a tough thing to tackle. There's not a lot of people that write like him.
Brandon Sanderson could probably.
He said no. He's not touching it.
Really?
It's not his style. It's not his, like, he doesn't have like rape and all that in his books.
Well,
and like inbreeding and all that.
He'll just have to channel some. He'll just have to do some necromancy and channel George R. R. Martin.
Necromancy and channel it. I'm channeling George.
Channeling George. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Brandon Sanderson to do that kind of stuff.
I mean, he might. But I wouldn't get your hopes up for that, because he did say he's straight up will never touch it if he dies.
Wow, really? I don't know.
Yeah.
If Brandon Sanderson won't, I don't know. I don't think it has a hope.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be completed. Maybe some fan will do it. Who knows? And then they'll get backed. Anyway, yeah, that's that. We got our George hating out. Two more things I got 2 more things.
Wow.
This one is real quick. Everything Everywhere All at Once was a movie that came out earlier this year. It's probably my favorite movie of the year. It's super good. It's like if Doctor Strange was actually traveling multiverses. It was really good. and it's getting a re-release. So if anybody hasn't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Oh
So
yeah, I
there's
heard that was coming back to theaters again.
Yep, it's
I
really good.
never got a chance to see it.
It's fantastic. You should see it. I don't know if it's like a theater release or like it's like you can stream it now. I don't know what the heck it is, but whatever. There's more opportunity to see it. People should take advantage of it. Now,
And Michelle Yeoh is just great.
yeah, the whole movie is just great. It's just a great movie. D&D trailer. Who would have thought, huh? Who would have thought? I know you've seen it. I've seen it. And I think both our consensus was it's just dumb enough where it might work.
Well, honestly, I'm more excited about it than the Game of Thrones prequel.
I am too, but the Game of Thrones prequel is coming out significantly much closer than the D&D trailer. The D&D trailer still doesn't have a release date, so that's going to be at least next year at the earliest.
Well, color me excited. I really, really am excited for that. What was that movie? Enchantment or whatever? It was also it was a Disenchantment. It was a movie also starring Natalie Portman in it was a fantasy movie with a comedy that had it was like Disenchant. I don't know. It was all right. You know, it wasn't stellar, but it was fun.
Where did it come from? Where's this coming from?
Well, just it's a fantasy movie also starring Natalie Portman. I like a good fantasy movie, and like this Dungeons and Dragons movie also looks pretty good. And for hardcore fans of the game, like there is so much fun stuff in this trailer. You've got owlbear, you've got gelatinous cube, you've got a mimic. I'm like, that's great. Like stuff we never get to see in the old Dungeons and Dragons movie, which is Brian's favorite movie ever.
Yeah, I love it. It's so good. It's so good.
Can't wait.
But yeah, it does look good. I'm surprised. I'm actually really surprised. In my head, I knew they were working on a D&D movie, and anytime I bring it up, there's no way that's going to be anything about that's going to be good, because it is really hard to make a D&D movie, because those two just kind of don't mix very well, I don't think. But I don't know, maybe I can be proven
tons
wrong.
of D&D books. I mean, they could easily adapt the books into a movie. I don't know why they haven't tried that. They always try to do something original. They should just.
How much money does this company have?
I don't know.
They seem to be all over the place nowadays. Did D&D just get like mega popular? I don't understand what's going on. They seem to be making they're making video games, they're making books, they're making shows, they're making they're everywhere.
Well, Stranger Things kind of got injected D&D into the masses a little bit, because the seasons usually start with D&D, and there's Tiny Tina's Wonderland for people.
But it's kind of like a small, Stranger Things isn't like all in on D&D. It's kind of like a very small part.
It's referenced though, and they usually start off the seasons playing D&D. It's usually in the first episode.
Yeah,
it kind of starts off. You got the Demigorgon, we got the Mind Flayer, we got Vecna. I guess season 3 they didn't really start off with D&D. Will wanted to play D&D really bad, but everyone kept ignoring him the entire season 3. But
just the whole show, he's kind of been ignored the entire.
Pretty much. He's got this whole gay subplot where like he's upset about it, but no one's. But even his brother is like, you can talk to me about it, but they don't ever have a conversation. I'm like, why did he even put this in there? Like it's really bizarre. It's like they're still just gonna ignore him. They make him even feel worse about himself. I don't know. Like I feel like there should have been at least a conversation, but there was only a conversation about having a conversation.
Well, you can have they'll have that conversation next season because where else are they gonna go? Oh wait, the whole problem hasn't been solved yet. Yeah, we don't have to dive into that. There's gonna be another season of Stranger Things. We'll see.
Yeah. So
mean potatoes time. Mean potatoes.
That works for me.
All right. Thor: Love and Thunder, directed by Taika Waititi. David, what are you rating this one?
I'm gonna go with like a 7.75 to 8. It was
7.75
to 8. It's like
This is like a new ratings. Like this has never been done before. We've done halves and we've done wholes. Now you can't get too advanced here. My math is gonna get you can't get we got to keep it simple.
Well, it's like teetering between a high 7 and 8. It's pretty good. For me, Thor Ragnarok was probably one of the best MCU films ever, at probably like a 9.5. This movie, pretty solid. I enjoyed it. its rating is lower because it wasn't quite as funny as the last one and good overall, but it was still pretty good. Brian, your thoughts?
So, I've been battling with myself since I've seen this movie. I've had an internal battle, and I know I could solve. I just figured like yesterday night after we stopped playing Tiny Tina, I was like, I could finish this battle if I would just watch Ragnarok. I would need to watch Ragnarok again because right now, I got the hot take of I think I like this more than Ragnarok.
Really?
But I have to watch Ragnarok again because I feel like that's not true. Because everything I see is telling me that's not true. But in my mind, it's like it's true.
What does your heart tell you?
My heart is telling me this is better than Ragnarok, but I feel like that's not real if I were to watch Ragnarok again.
It's not real. Ragnarok is definitely a better movie.
Yeah, I really liked Ragnarok. I also really like this movie. However, I can pick fun at this movie more than I can pick fun at Ragnarok. So I guess that might be a little help towards Ragnarok being better because there's definitely points in this movie where I do have problems with. I'm sure we'll talk about those. But there's also points where I think the highs are very high in this movie, and I do like it a lot. So I'm going to give it. I'm going to copy you. If we're going to do all these decimal things, 7.75 as well.
Throw some decimals in there.
7.75624.
Yeah. Do it.
Divided by multiplied. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna. I'll give it around the same score you do. I think I might have to watch Ragnarok again to really solidify my thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoyed this movie. It did have some lackluster things.
I mean, it might have been the fact that Ragnarok was after Thor 1 and 2, which were awful, and Thor 3 was just so much better than the previous ones. But I do think Thor 3 is probably one of my high points for the entire MCU.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Along with Doctor Strange 1.
For sure.
And Iron Man 1. So, I mean, like, these are some of my favorite MCU movies.
A lot of comparisons I've been seeing, like maybe not a lot, maybe 4. Maybe I've seen about 4 comparisons of people comparing this movie to being as good, just as good as Thor 2, and that's it. And I don't think that's fair. I think this movie is way better than Thor 2.
This movie's way better
Crystal or whatever the heck it's called.
Even though, like, one of the big problems we've had with Phase 4 is that it hasn't moved forward the story. This movie also does more of that, not moving anything ahead. But this is still a better movie than the other one. So that's what saved this movie from like a 7 or below 7, because a straight 7.
You bringing up that it doesn't bring the story forward. I got a bone to pick with everybody. We've been saying since like before December this phase is going nowhere, and we've got a little pushback for that. And now everybody's saying the same thing.
Yeah, people are
saying it.
People are rating this movie worse because this movie isn't pushing the thing forward. And I'm like, the only movie that has actually attempted moving the overall general story forward has been the Eternals, because we got Blade and we got Jon Snow's new superhero character that's going to come out of that, and we've got the Celestials and all that stuff like that. That's like world building, and everything kind of just gets resolved in these other movies where it doesn't seem like it really builds off of anything. So
then there's no like end credit scene where it's like, they would show Thanos at the end of every movie where he's just like sitting in a chair saying like, it's almost time,
I'm gonna do stuff soon, guys.
Yeah, but they don't have any of that. It's still not confirmed who the big bad is supposed to be.
I thought it was supposed to be Kang. I mean, I thought that's all signs point to Kang.
I think
because of Loki.
We had this conversation. I think this is my thought is Kang's going to be like an Ultron, where that Ultron level threat, where he's kind of like, he is a big bad for like 2 or 3 movies, and then he has to be taken down by a bunch of people.
Ultron,
and then there's going to be a bigger one that's like actually does something. That's what I think Kang's going to be, because Kevin Feige said that he's hinted at who it is in quite a few movies, and he doesn't think anybody's picked up on it yet. But I don't know. There's Marvel experts out there. Nobody seems to know, so I don't know what this guy's smoking.
I don't know. It's Thor. Thor is gonna be the new bad guy of the MCU.
That actually would probably be a problem. Like, Thor is pretty powerful now.
Yeah, basically.
David.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on Natalie Portman coming back? Because this is my most controversial opinion about this movie. What did you think about her?
I was fine with her coming back. I mean, of course, this is spoilers. This is Synthaholics. We spoil everything all the time, no matter what. I know this is pretty early in the movie, but she's dead at the end of the movie, and I was not expecting that. I was expecting this to be a passing of the torch movie, so that, you know, Chris Hemsworth hangs up his mantle as Thor, and then Mighty Thor Jane Foster continues forward through Phase 4 and 5 as Mighty Thor. That was kind of my expectation, seeing Jane Foster back in this movie, that they've been passing the mantle. And I didn't watch the Hawkeye show, but I know Hawkeye's kind of like passing the mantle to the new girl Hawkeye. You know, Iron Man's dead, so Riri Williams is gonna show up. We've got like the young.
Well, Iron Man is going to be replaced by what's her name? Like Braveheart, Brave, or something like that.
Yeah, isn't her name like Riri?
Oh, I'm not sure what her name is. I think you said Reed Richards.
No, Riri Wilson. I can't remember. I haven't read the comics.
Well, whoever it is, it's somebody.
But yeah, a girl's going to be taking over the Iron Man, and you know, we've had some passing of the torch thing. You know, we've had Captain America get old, and you know, the Falcon's now Captain America.
Oh my god, dude. This sounds like it's going to be a nightmare.
So it just feels like we've had all this like passing of the torch. So I just figured this is like the only superhero who's gotten a fourth standalone movie is Thor. So I figured this was going to be the passing.
His last one.
Yeah,
I think everybody thought that.
Yeah. So and then the fact that they killed Jane at the end was confusing and odd, considering like why can't someone else make a wish? Like one person got their wish. Now why can't Thor have his wish and bring? I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is Marvel. Anything can happen. They can bring her back if they need to.
I know, which is why you shouldn't kill her in the first place. I'm sick of like, you know, you kill someone, you bring them back. Like just don't kill them.
I didn't like that she kind of just got shoehorned in as like just Mighty Thor and gave no reason to why she got these powers. She just like walked up to the hammer one day because she was curious or because she missed Thor or something, and the hammer just like fixed itself and she held it. I don't understand why that was a possible thing. But
did you go for a bathroom break?
I did. Why did I miss? There's no way I missed something.
Yeah, there is. So like there's a flashback where Thor and Jane are living together, and like Jane's doing something, and Thor's talking to his hammer. He's like, you know, if I'm gone or whatever, you should take care of her. Which really? Is what, so he basically wishes to Mjolnir that if he loses it for any reason, or if he's not around for any reason, that Mjolnir take care of Jane. So when she reads a book and finds out that Mjolnir is supposed to bring health, which I don't know why it kills her if it's supposed to bring health, whatever. But it basically, since Thor has Stormbreaker, the hammer's passed on to her. So when she goes near it, it comes back together. Huh. Because Thor wished for the hammer to be back together. So you would.
I totally missed that.
So you took a bathroom break when they explained the part why the hammer is hers now.
Yeah, dude. When you gotta go, you gotta go. What am I supposed to do?
Sure. But I get it. But you know, I pee twice before the movie and once right after, so I wouldn't miss anything. But yeah. So
I guess that's more okay. She's more acceptable now.
Yeah,
I still feel like she was kind of shoehorned in though.
Well, I kind of wish, like, if Thor was talking to his weapons, I kind of wish they would have sprinkled that in before.
But this is new. This is a new thing.
This is a new thing, which is also really funny because I love it when like Thor is talking to. He's like, "Oh man, my old," and then Stormbreaker comes in. He's like, "No, you're my. Of course, you're my weapon now." Yeah. It's like it's
you're
like
for me.
Girlfriend.
You're for me now.
It was really fun. I like making Chris Hemsworth Thor into like a comedian. Best decision Taika Waititi made about Thor because it makes Thor.
Chris Hemsworth's
great. I mean, like, you know, I know the 2016 Ghostbusters movie is a hot topic and everyone hated it, but Chris Hemsworth was by far the best part of that movie.
Oh yeah, he is great. He's great. Shifting gears a little bit from the hero to the villain. what did you think of
Batman?
Mr. Christian Bale's God Butcher? What did you think of him? I thought he did a fantastic job. However, for being the God Butcher, didn't do a whole lot with it. He didn't really butcher it. He butchered one god on screen, and then the rest of it was like, this is just what he does, guys. He just butchers gods. But he didn't really do too much of that.
I wish there was some kind of like time scale. Like, did this happen just like minutes before the movie started? Like stuff with Thor was going on. Was this a long time ago? Like, I just wish there was some kind of like timeline to know how long he was around butchering gods, or was it just super recent and he just started killing things? Because I don't think that was particularly clear. I mean, Christian Bale's a really good actor, so he did a great job. It's like most MCU villains. They're pretty like one note, one dimensional. Yeah, sure, he was sad that like his daughter died, and he was like basically worshiping the god, and then just flipped on a coin instantly. I'm gonna kill him now. I mean, maybe the sword possessed him a little bit, but also like
the sword is like a evil like artifact or whatever. I don't know.
But you'd think that like, you know, the god would try to get rid of it or destroy it, not at least leave it near a guy he's like patronizing.
Yeah, one would think, but I guess that's
because they literally just killed the last guy who had the sword, the king or whatever, which is why why he made that fountain of bounty oasis where like there was food and stuff everywhere. Christian Bale's starving, nomming up all the food, and he's like, "What is this dude doing here?" And like, "Oh, we don't like, you know, we don't care what our subjects say," and it's just like, what?
And speaking of gods, Zeus. Russell Crowe played Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, I thought he did a great job representing Zeus, because most places that represent what Zeus is, he's kind of like this all-powerful, perfect human being.
He's dad bod Zeus.
Yeah, and Zeus kind of sucks, like OG Zeus that like the Greek people came up with. And believed like he was kind of an awful person.
He was a horrible person.
Yeah. And I feel like we got a little bit of that in this, even though it's like the comic book version of Zeus. But like this Zeus is like it's getting more accurate to what Zeus from the Greek times was.
Yeah, it was like, and you're this close from not getting invited to the orgy, Thor.
He was really into orgies.
I mean,
he liked them.
I mean, back from the Greek times. I mean, yeah.
And Thor had a full nude scene.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
No, which is weird because I read an article that said he was excited to show his butt on screen, but I've also read articles in the previous movies where he was uncomfortable having his shirt off. So, like, because they're kind of objectifying him with his muscles and stuff like that. I'm like, what?
He is jacked. This dude is well, I mean, he's definitely taking steroids, but like, he's huge. I don't know what kind of workout he's doing, but that dude is ripped.
Oh, I saw another article that he got biggest he's ever gotten for this Thor movie, and his wife was like, "Yeah, it's too much."
It's a lot of work to maintain that. That's not like you go like a week and you're gonna lose like 20 pounds of muscle. You gotta keep working out when you got like that kind of body.
Yeah.
But yeah. That was wild. That was wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, other characters that I enjoyed.
The sad part was that Natalie Portman and Valkyrie were like, "Oh, okay, we'll take our costumes off." I'm like, "Oh, come
on." Oh, that didn't happen.
But, I know, right?
But speaking of Tessa Thompson, I like Tessa Thompson. She's really cool. Good. The only weird thing I thought about her is that like the way she dressed, it felt like she just like rolled out of bed in real life and just went to set, and whatever she was wearing, they were just like, yeah, this is fine. She always was wearing like sweatpants and like a baggy t-shirt. She was never wearing anything because she's like the king or queen or whatever of
she's the king of New Asgard.
New Asgard, and she's just running around wearing like shorts and sweatpants or a t-shirt or whatever. I thought that was great. I got a kick out of that. I don't know who made that costume decision, but it felt like she just kind of like rolled up on the scene and she was like, "Hey guys, I'm ready." That was a cool part. I like Tessa Thompson though, so I don't know. Maybe I'm biased.
No, she's good. I like her. I mean, she was great in also Ragnarok. And
Oh yeah, she was good. She was good in everything that she's in. She's good. She's good in Westworld. She's good in Creed. She's good in. She's just good. She's just overall cool.
Yeah.
Hashtag Tess Thompson's cool.
Sure.
Tweet that one out. That one hasn't happened before.
Yeah, Tess Thompson's cool.
So the story here. Did you feel? I felt like they were amping up this story, and not much really ever came of it. Or it kept saying like, you know, the God Butcher, he's like dangerous. They're like, go to this like god where all these gods live, where Zeus was, and they're telling New Asgard how dangerous he is, and he captures kids in a cage, team kids in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing really ever, nothing bad happens to anybody. Like nothing besides that one god in the beginning, and then maybe a few side background characters died, and then obviously Natalie Portman, but she didn't die because she got killed. She died because she was sick. Other than that, I feel like it was like they're building up this giant thing, and it kind of just poofed out at the end, and nothing happened.
Well, he cut off what's her name's arm. Can't remember her name.
Civ.
Lady Civ. They cut off Lady Civ's arm, and he killed that like dog god thing that was all frozen over. Like he killed other. I mean, they showed a couple things that he had killed, but we didn't know them, so we didn't really care.
Yeah, I guess it didn't matter.
But like that's because that shot was like right out of a comic book. I've seen people like post a shot of the comic book where that like dog thing is dead.
Oh, that giant like mountain looking thing. That's that dog.
Yeah, that dog on its side or whatever. That's
dead. It was in the winter, right? It was in like the winter.
It was all frozen. Yeah. Like, I've seen that. Like it's like.
Why couldn't we see that fight? That fight would have been dope.
Yeah, that would have been. I think Marvel kind of mandated the movie be under 2 hours, so there might have been scenes that were cut.
How do you feel about that, though?
What?
Marvel, people limiting how long a movie should be.
I am completely against it. If it makes the movie make more sense, leave it in. If it makes the movie flow better, leave it in. I mean, I understand like with the Lord of the Rings, they had to cut those movies because they were already so long. But honestly, I believe the special editions are the only way to watch Lord of the Rings films.
Agreed.
Because without those footage, they're longer films, but they feel shorter because the pacing is better. I've ever since the beginning, since when Brian joined the podcast, pacing has been one of the things I've probably talked about the most when it comes to the things we reviewed, because we've been doing more movies instead of TV shows, and pacing huge. And the Lord of the Rings movies are better paced with the extra footage, so they feel shorter, even though they are longer. So pacing is a big thing. So I mean, this movie didn't feel obnoxiously long, so I could have dealt with more stuff going. It felt like as long as it was, it didn't feel shorter, it didn't feel longer. It was well enough paced. I didn't dislike the movie. Building up the God Butcher more would have probably been better, because except for Thanos, because we kept seeing Thanos all over. They kept building up what a big bad he was, which was great, and that he was in 2 Avengers movies. So that as a big bad, Endgame and Infinity War, or vice versa. You know what I mean?
Sure.
He was the kind of the main bad for two movies, so you kind of got to know him more. A lot of times in these movies, they just kind of introduce him, and he's bad. You gotta kill him at the end. They almost never keep the villain around.
No, they never do. Which is almost never, never, unless it's a bigger bad like Ultron.
Yeah. Well, they killed Ultron.
But he had remnants going on for next few movies. There's always people would be like, "Oh, that was Ultron," like they just did in Doctor Strange. They had that multi-dimension when they went to.
But that was Reed Richards'
Well, yeah, but I'm saying he's been brought back up. They didn't kill him and never talk about him again. There's most Marvel villains are killed at the end of that movie, and they're never talked about again.
Well, that's where the good thing that Wanda was the bad guy in Doctor Strange, because she's not dead because she's Wanda. So I mean, it was nice having a bad guy that wasn't killed. It would be nice if that happened more, so that we can build them back up. Can
you imagine if they make her the big bad and all she wants is her kids? What a bad villain that would be, huh?
Oh man, I don't retread that plot, please. We've already
I
had
feel
it.
like that. I feel like it's possible, man. I feel
Oh
like
no.
I feel like it's a thing that could happen.
She forgets everything that happened in Multiverse of Madness and just does it again, even though she learned her lesson.
Yeah, exactly. It's just gonna happen again. It's just gonna happen again.
No, don't do
Yeah,
that.
long movies are cool, I guess. I don't really have a problem with them, but if they start pushing 3 hours, I don't want to watch them in theaters anymore. The theater seats aren't always that comfortable, and after 3 hours, man, it's like I gotta like use the bathroom. I'm getting hungry. Like it's like put an intermission in there or something.
Well,
But
the Gods in General is the movie about Stonewall Jackson. That was like 4 hours long, and there was an intermission in that, so you can get up and go to the bathroom.
yeah,
But that was
if a movie's gonna be that long, I would like to have like a 10-minute break or something like that, just to get up and stretch my legs. Cause sitting down for it's like 3.5. If it's a 3 hour movie, you're sitting there for 3.5 hours, and like that's a long time to just sit in the darkness when
yeah.
you don't really have much food, or well, actually, you have too much food, and you got this giant thing of pop next to you. You get a big old sody pop, and you drink like a quarter of it, and you're like, okay, I gotta pee 4 times now.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't have a problem with movies being long if they're good, if they're entertaining and paced
Oh, yeah.
well. I don't care how long a movie is. Like, granted, if you're starting to push that 4 hour limit or 3 hour, maybe do an intermission because I mean, like I said, got to get up and pee. And I don't want to miss things. So I mean, if they did an intermission in a 3 hour movie, hour and a half. That's probably good, right? So I mean, I don't think movies should be mandated to be under 2 hours. I don't know. I just don't think that's cool.
Yeah, I
Especially,
don't agree with that either.
especially in Marvel movies that criminally underdevelop their villain. I want a more developed villain. I mean,
You're gonna get a felony charge. Marvel's getting a felony charge for underdeveloping their villains.
they should. I like to develop the villains. I mean, to this day, it's why Final Fantasy VII is probably my favorite Final Fantasy game because it's got the most developed villain of pretty much any of the Final Fantasy games in it. Like it's.
Well, I mean, that is
it's
just a good game, though. It's not like just because it's a villain.
Well,
It's
no.
not. It's a pretty solid package.
It is a solid package, but I mean, like he's one of the most developed villains in video game history, and probably movie history too. He's extremely well developed, and like I get it. I get when you see Sephiroth's backstory. I get it. I see why you're this evil. Do I agree? Not really, but I understand where you're coming from psychologically. You've
Yeah.
been messed up in the head, and if I was in that position, I might go crazy too. So I mean, I get it. But like, so many villains are just one note, like the Emperor Palpatine, just a one note villain. This guy, such a one note. I mean, granted, his daughter died; he was avenging his daughter. But I mean, like, once you've killed your god, like, why are you killing all the gods? Are all the gods gonna be that bad? I mean, like, some of them maybe.
According to him,
like,
yes.
Oh, but also the sword kind of made him crazy. But I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's not as compelling as like building up a guy's full story and fleshing him out, like giving him more than one or two notes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a good developed bad guy, and I want more of that. I want a bad guy I can understand and like see why he is the way he is, and not just that he's just bad because he's a bad guy.
The bad guy. He's the bad guy. We gotta get him. We gotta get him. Now, I want to talk about my least favorite thing about this movie because we haven't talked about it yet.
Wow.
Yeah. They didn't let the jokes, they didn't let one serious moment play out. I get it. Like, this movie doesn't have to be like. The movie doesn't have to be like the Citizen Kane of Marvel seriousness, but like. They're like when Jane was in the hospital, there can be some serious stuff where you're not like throwing around a joke every single possible situation they're in, because most of the jokes, this movie is entertaining and all that. Korg especially, we still got to talk about Korg because he's pretty great, but there's too many jokes and a lot of them fall flat, and I feel like they should tone those jokes. I felt like they should have toned those jokes back and just kind of like let a serious thing play out.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree. There were some things that were meant to be funny that just weren't, which is why the last movie was better. Because the last movie the jokes landed, and they landed so much better, and the movie was funnier for it. This movie had some jokes that didn't land.
Yeah.
which kind of detracted from the overall funny of the movie. I think he was trying, maybe he was trying too hard. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He was trying to make more of a lighthearted rom-com because he said it's Vikings and it's a rom-com Vikings in space. I think that's something that Chris Hemsworth said. So if that's what they're going for, they did get that, but a little too many jokes. Korg though, Korg is great. Taika Waititi is he's just funny. His voice is funny. Like the way he moves and acts is funny. He's just a funny guy, and Korg just a pile of rocks. Just with his little weird voice that he's got. Man, that guy's great. I hope Korg is just in more movies because he's just great. I don't think he will be. I think he's only going to be exclusive to Thor movies because Taika Waititi's playing him. So
what about his husband? What about his husband Dwayne?
Who knows? Man.
Dwayne the Rocks.
Yeah, Dwayne the Rocks. I don't know. We'll have to see what they do with him. But yeah, can you imagine just... He's the director of Thor: Love and Thunder, and he's got a mocap suit on as he's like directing, and he's like, "Oh, this is my scene. I got to get in it." Is he the one like saying cut? Do you think like they're like playing on a scene, and then he's like, "Cut"?
Probably. I mean, he was also one of my favorite parts of Free Guy. Taika Waititi as the CEO guy.
The CEO.
He was great. I love him.
And we talked a little bit about it, but he's doing the next Star Wars trilogy movie. I don't know what the heck it is, but he said he's like, I'm tired of these like same 15 characters. We're doing something new, which is like, cool, Taika, you're a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, it's also funny. Speaking of Star Wars, he asked Natalie Portman on set. He's like, hey, do you want to be in a Star Wars movie? Forgetting she was in 3.
She's kind of like a critical component. It's not like she was like a background character where it's like, I guess she could be in another one, like if you're just like this super side background character. But no, she kind of plays a pretty important role, so I don't think she's going to be able to be in the new ones with Taika, unfortunately.
She could just play her great grandmother, since it's supposed to be like, isn't it supposed to be like thousands of years in the past, like the old like way old.
I don't know what he's doing. He hasn't really said, I don't think. But he said they're all new characters, which is cool because I like new characters, and Star Wars is talking about the same 15 characters and plot points since the 70s.
Yep. Desperately needs new characters.
There's that. David, do you have any more thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder? Because I got one more. And all I got is that at the end when Thor is running with that little girl, that's his real daughter in real life. That's the last thing I wanted. That's the Easter egg of the day.
Well, I mean, we forgot the two most important characters of the movie. The two goats from Goat Simulator.
Oh my gosh, oh man, I got my notes. I never even wrote down about the goats. The goats were great. The goats made this movie bump up like a whole point.
How could you not mention the goats? They were fantastic.
Can't believe I forgot about the goats. Yeah, the goats are pretty fantastic. They are definitely a high in this movie for sure.
I mean, like half the funny parts were because of half the funny parts that landed were because of the goats. Yeah. So I mean, this movie would have lost at least a whole point, maybe 1.75.
Whoa!
Without the goats from Goat Simulator, that was just.
The goats are pretty cool. They should have. I really hope they have goats again because the goats were really cool. And actually the dynamic between the two weapons that Thor has, Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, how like he's like you gotta behave now, please behave. Yeah, granted, he's never talked about like actually talking to his weapons, like you already brought up.
I really wish they would have done that in the last movie, like at least like set the groundwork for it. But I mean, this movie has a flashback back when they were dating during like the first two Thor movies, and he was talking to Mjolnir.
Yeah, but that's kind of like it wasn't.
It's like a weird retcon. Like I just kind of wish you would have laid the groundwork for it a little bit in the last movie.
Yeah, it would have been nice. Foreshadowing is always needed and nice, but this movie kind of like foreshadowed by like.
Well, they did flashbacks, so I mean,
that's not fair. That's like cheating. That's like a cheating way to do it. Yeah, the goats were. It's like a 10 out of 10 for sure. The goats are really cool.
The goats are great. Like, it's just the screaming goats. Yeah, absolutely great. I hope to see them in the next Thor movie if there's another one.
I hope there is.
Also the post-credit scene. Hercules,
Post-credit scene.
Hercules.
Oh yeah, Hercules. I guess I don't know. I don't know what they have every post-credit scene. I don't know what any of the characters are. I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know like what does Hercules have to do with anything. I mean, just showing me a character doesn't do anything anymore. I don't know who these people are.
Which I mean, like apparently they're gonna try and keep Chris Hemsworth around because I think Hercules is gonna be Thor's new villain, I guess. And if they keep going, so like all these post credit things like don't mean anything to me lately. Because I mean, like even going back to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we've got like the cocoon with Adam Warlock in it. We haven't like heard or seen that cocoon with Adam Warlock. I like all these post credit scenes aren't doing anything anymore. It just even I guess that was during Phase 3. Like we still haven't had payoff from stuff from the last phase.
Yeah.
Come on, like when are we gonna move the plot forward? I mean, I'm giving this movie a pass for not moving it forward because it was such a good movie compared to a lot of the other stuff in Phase 4 so far. But
well, this is something. Not moving the story forward has been something that's been on our minds since like maybe Shang-Chi, definitely Spider-Man, but maybe Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I mean Shang-Chi, it was a thing, but yeah, Spider-Man for sure because it was like anti-story because they were removing him completely.
Yeah,
and then,
it's anti-story.
Yeah, because they're just removing him completely from the universe, and then
actually, the movie didn't even really exist.
The movie takes away from the universe.
Yeah, the movie took away from the overarching story. That's funny. I never thought of it that way.
Well, that's why I was so down on it. I mean, it was an entertaining movie, but I was really down on it because it didn't move the story forward, and it took away from the story by removing Spider-Man in that way. And then we got Multiverse of Madness, which barely even references Spider-Man. Like I thought that was going to tie in a lot more. Nope. Like it
can't because nobody knows who Spider-Man is anymore.
But the trailer tied it in. The trailer of Multiverse of Madness ties more into the Spider-Man movie than the actual movie does itself.
That's true.
Like you thought they would have built on that a little bit, like, but they didn't.
No,
like not at all. And that's something we didn't really touch on during our Multiverse of Madness show, but
it is what it is. We're touching on it now.
Yeah,
we're the way we do our podcast for Marvel movies is like the way Marvel does their movies. It's like we use a little bit each time to make a complete story.
We'll touch on it. After Endgame, I was starting to get Marvel fatigue, and now it's starting to super set in with no forward momentum. Like it was starting to set in then, and now I'm just kind of like, I mean. It's kind of our bread and butter to talk about the big movies, and Marvel movies are like most of the big movies that come out in a year, it feels like. So, I mean, I'm sure we'll still be covering them, but I just hope this goes.
We're starting not
soon.
to enjoy I've been saying it for a while that it feels like, but they keep making their movies as one single movies are always solid. They've been solid for years now. It's just we're wanting a little bit more, I guess, and maybe we'll get that. Maybe we won't. Who knows?
I mean, it just feels like they're getting complacent. It's like they know their formula and they're just playing it super safe.
Yep.
And it's like the same movie over and over again. Like, give us something a little bit more. Develop your villains, please. For the love of God,
Thor,
develop your villains.
Chris Hemsworth did say like he wants to keep playing Thor just to stick it to Hugh Jackman to beat him with Wolverine. Because Hugh Jackman's played Wolverine for 16 years, I think. 15, 16, something like that.
It was a long time. Because, I mean, the first X-Men movie in the 90s and then Logan in, 2018?
Yeah, I don't know what it's between 15 and 20 years he played Wolverine, and Chris Hemsworth said like he's getting close and he wants to just beat him just to stick it to him because they're both Australian, so I'm sure they're friends. And he's like, I'm just gonna do it to beat you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine them two just like at the pub and he's like, I'm just gonna play Thor just long enough so you don't have that record anymore.
Well, no one's gonna beat Leonard Nimoy.
Well, no. But like he
played Spock in 1966 and he played Spock until he died. Like he was in like the 2016 or 17 movie Into Darkness. Like
yeah, he's gonna have the record for longest Star Trek character.
Like Leonard Nimoy's got the record.
Yeah, he'll have that record for sure.
Unless William Shatner shows up in something.
I mean, he still can.
He still can. Yes.
He's still around to do it. I would do it if I were him. I'm sure he could easily get in one of these Star Trek shows very easily. All he'd have to do is make one call and say, "I want to be in it," and they'd be like, "Oh, okay, get him in."
I don't know. I feel like people are trying not to have William Shatner in it because he always says he wants to, and then when they don't invite him, he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to be a part of it."
Well, he does seem kind of like a horrible person. He's starting to not see. Every time I see him, he's kind of sucks.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I've heard horrible things about him, and I've heard he was really bad at cons. I met him once at a con. He didn't seem awful, but I mean, like, maybe he was having a good day. I don't know.
I don't know.
Speaking of William Shatner news that we didn't get to earlier, William Shatner said that, like, I guess at Comic-Con, which is happening this weekend.
Right now,
as we speak, that he said that he knew Gene Roddenberry from working on the original series, and he said Gene Roddenberry will be rolling in his grave at how bad and non-Star Trek-y all these new shows are. And I've gone on record many times saying these new shows don't feel like Star Trek when we were doing them episode by episode. I mean, William Shatner's right, he wouldn't, but also a lot of the best Star Trek that people love, Gene Roddenberry also didn't sign off on. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, he hated. Star Trek 6, I don't even know if he was alive for that one, but he probably would have hated that. So, I mean, like, just because Gene Roddenberry wouldn't have liked it, doesn't mean it wouldn't have happened. I don't know. He hated some stuff that was great Star Trek, but also this new stuff isn't even great, so who knows?
Not me.
Oh, I think Lower Decks season 3 starts in August.
Really?
Yeah, season 3.
Huh.
And I know.
I guess we got that coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited because
I haven't seen is there a trailer? Maybe we'll get a trailer this weekend for it.
Oh, maybe at Comic-Con because
there'll be a lot of trailers this weekend that'll come out tomorrow.
Yeah, come out tomorrow. I think it's August. It's sometime this year. I wanted to say August was the last time I saw news for it. So I mean that'd be cool. I'm excited because season 2 ended on a cliffhanger and it was a really good season. So
yeah, we'll definitely talk about that when it's finished, which will probably be depending on when Lower Decks finishes. Probably September, October, or somewhere in there.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, David, did Thunder strike twice? Do you recommend Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yeah, go watch it. It was good. I mean, it was entertaining. It's probably one of my favorite movies of Phase 4 so far. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend go and see it. Have some laughs. The goats will crack you up. If the goats don't make you laugh, you're probably not human.
You might be a goat.
You might just go at the goats.
Yeah, Thor was good. Recommend it. Go see it. Lightning struck twice. Thor is cool.
Taika Waititi for the win.
Yeah, Taika Waititi's cool. That's all I got.
All right. Well, until next time.
Who knows what we're talking about? Because we haven't talked about it. Who knows? You'll just have to be surprised along with us because we don't know either.
We have no idea. Well, thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. See ya.
Email David at synthaholics@yahoo.com.
Or that.